seriously. We have issued evacuation orders for our red zone, our orange zone, and that also includes mobile homes, manufactured homes, and any areas that are prone to flooding. Take this seriously, heed the evacuation orders, and get to safety. This is a major hurricane. This is going to affect large portions of Southwest Florida and potentially create catastrophic damage.
What is the biggest difference you expect to see with this storm in comparison to past storms here in Charlotte County?
Well, this is a storm you don't see very often. The biggest difference I see between Hurricane Ian and other past storms, for those who remember 5 years ago with Hurricane Irma, it was similar as far as coming from the south to our north and potential for a catastrophic storm surge. Well, this one's already in the Gulf. It doesn't stand a chance of coming and affecting the peninsula instead of our shoreline. So storm surge is certainly much more of a possibility with this storm than previous other ones we've seen.
I overheard a conversation today actually in Publix. It was a woman trying to convince a senior who lived in a mobile home who didn't want to leave. What would be your message? Basically, the conversation was, well, I don't live right on the water. Can you kind of explain that? You don't necessarily have to be right on the beach for there to be danger, right?
My message to anyone who's questioning whether they should leave based on their proximity to the water, the science behind the evacuation zones indicates that just because you can't see the water, it's still potentially, you can see inundation where you live. It's difficult for some people to grasp that, but what we hope is that neighbors are looking after neighbors and explaining that to anyone who's either new to the area or maybe people who have been to this area a long time and never seen this level of storm surge, that is definitely possible, and it's very likely in a situation like this with a major hurricane, with the strength of the winds and the speed at which it's traveling.
If people have questions, who do they call? Do you want them to call emergency management? What do you suggest?
Well, they can certainly follow any of our social media accounts for up-to-date information. Our residents have many options available to them. Our call center has been operating since over the weekend, honestly. They can call 941-833-4000. That's our call center, emergency management line. They can answer any one of their questions, speak to a live person, but all of our websites, our social media accounts have the latest up-to-date information if they have any questions.
Can you give us a timeline as to when people need to be out of their homes if they're going to leave?
We look at the time that individuals need to be out of their homes. We look at tropical storm force winds as that critical time. You don't want to be on the roadways with strong winds. We're looking right now at that timeline being sometime overnight tonight. So people need to make that decision to leave now and seek shelter before it gets too late this evening.
What's your recommendation for someone who's in a C zone but close to the B zone?
Right now, we are not seeing a forecast that would have any inundation into a C zone, what we call a yellow zone here in Charlotte County, but pay attention to the forecast. But right now, we do not have a need to evacuate the C or yellow evacuation zone. Thank you, everyone. Have a good day.